Today we explore a forgotten theater in Dayton, Ohio. While the Midget Theater is in itself unique, the story of its manager, the legendary Sherman Potteriff, is one you're not going to want to miss. Now, before we get started, I'm only referring to the Midget Theater because it's its actual name. But I've referenced the Little People of America website, where the respectful term for dwarfism is little person. For that reason, I will be using the term little person, or LP, throughout the rest of this video. Now for a little history on the theater. It first opened in 1913 and was billed as the home of quality photo plays. It was managed by Sherman, who used the fact that he was a little person to market the theater. Hell, it was named after him. But it was actually a large theater of 300 opera-style seats. And it was originally marketed under the tagline, "Nothing small about the theater, only the manager." Let's check out the inside before talking more about Sherman and his 5-legged pig. You can see here to the left, we've got where the ticket window used to be. Now you can see from the earlier photos that this part of the building was actually a soda and candy shop. Not much is left today, except this awesome tile work. That's one comfortable toilet seat cover. No going in that way. That is some Old Spice. You can see we have this old photo of the theater, but a lot has changed. So there was actually a wall built in between where we're at now, and that wall has a stage. And then you keep going to a lower floor, and here is where the original stage would have been. But let's head back to the top and work our way down. You can see all the original wood cornices are still intact. And as you'll see in a minute, in the hallway, there's actually a few hidden that have never been painted. So these posters are from the late 60s and early 70s. And I found where you can actually still buy the Uncle Sam flipping the bird on Amazon. I put a link in the video description if you're interested. Ooh, unpainted cornices. Theaters like these were often referred to as Nickelodeon theaters because they cost just a nickel for admission. Because the photoplays were silent, they used a Wurlitzer orchestra piano that was played during the plays. The theater actually closed in 1928 and spent its years after that as many things, from a boys and girls club, hence you see the basketball hoops, a barbershop in the front, a beauty school, a Salvation Army church. And a bootleg liquor establishment. Obviously, when this was a theater, there wasn't a garage door and a giant ramp that came down. This was actually where the stage sat. This is one old bathroom. Oh, look, an attic access. We gotta check that out.
The floors are gone. Like, this is all.
This right here is not, don't step on. I mean, I don't know what it looks like up there.
I'm walking on 2x4s that are laying down.
Oh, yeah,
I'm looking for any stuff. It's got a brand new roof though.
yeah. All the dollars is fell in.
So there's a bunch of bottles. Here, I'll tell you what they are.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
As long as I don't fall through. So there's a bunch of bottles back here.
Ooh, those are nice.
Sweet cider. I don't know how old it is.
Interesting.
There's a bat inside of it, or a dead bird inside of it. Got that going for us. There's a cot. I just realized there was a cot right there.
So we made it down from the attic. And before we check out the basement and then the second floor apartments, let's talk a little bit more about Sherman. Sherman gives us a unique perspective on what life was like in the 1900s, because he was in fact a little person. Sherman was born in Preble County, located just outside Dayton, in 1866. He spent much of his youth in Dayton, and was very well known, especially on the West Side, where he catered and served lunches to the students at Steele High School before they had a cafeteria. Sherman worked there with his first wife, but just a year after their wedding, she died unexpectedly at the age of 20. Her obituary gives us the first glimpse of what it's like to be not only a little person, but a woman in 1902. She is referred to as Mrs. Sherman Potteriff, and it doesn't mention her first name or her maiden name, but it does go into much detail about her height and how her and Sherman's wedding ceremony drew much interest. You'll start to see a trend, and maybe you'll start to understand why they want to be referred to as little people or just people. The next time we see a reference to Sherman in the paper was an article from 1903. The article described Sherman, the little man who drives about Dayton in his little carriage drawn by a little black pony with a freak pig, a little 5-legged pig named Molly. Before Sherman and his brother actually became the proprietors of the theater, when it opened in 1914, Sherman was a touring performer with the Cole and Middleton's Dime Museum. I searched to find an advertisement referencing Sherman, but without knowing his act, I wasn't able to. But I was able to find a couple local Cincinnati advertisements around the same era. Sherman actually ran the theater from the time of its grand opening to when it closed its doors in 1928. This was due to growing competition in the area. At some point prior or during the theater's operation, Sherman got remarried to a woman named Sadie. You can see them advertising for the theater together. After the theater closed, Sherman and Sadie moved to New York, where they owned and operated a miniature railroad concession. Then, Sherman later died in 1931 at the age of 65, but he was buried back in Dayton. And again, you can see that the obituary focuses on the fact that he was a little person more than anything else that he did in his life. Hell, the title is even Little Person Dies in New York, but they didn't use the term little person. It's really sad, but Sherman was a true Daytonian and should be remembered for his unique contributions to its history. Sherman was a true Daytonian and should be remembered
It's a real maze
for his
down here.
unique contributions to Dayton's history.
Look at the hole in this brick where it's collapsing. Looks like a crawl space. I don't think I'm going to crawl back in there right now. You can see there's a variety of different foundation types from over the years. And there's potential that some of the oldest foundation that we can see was originally part of the Osterday harness shop that was here prior to the theater.
That used to be a door. Look at the frame. Or a bottom window and a top window.
Yeah.
Time to head out of the basement, outside of the building, to go in the door next to the main door that takes us straight upstairs to the apartments over top of the theater, which I must say would have been an awesome place to live.
You can see the black glue on the walls. There must have been paneling. Almost every room has this glue on it. If you really enjoy our videos, please consider subscribing and supporting us through Patreon. Two matching fireplaces, separated by a keyhole in the wall. We've got quite the view from the second floor. I wonder which Smurf this is. This window is very odd. It goes into like an alleyway, but it's closed in at the top. I wonder what it was actually used for. Now for the bathroom. For more history on this location, check out Tom's write-up in the video description. And if you're interested in this location as an investment opportunity, let's say the next brewery in Dayton, I'll put a link in the video description to Erica as well, so you can support those that support us. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, check out our other videos, and until next time, be safe out there.
Perfect.